friend. I hope you're having a really good day, but if you're not, that's totally fine because it is 100% okay to not be okay 100% of the time. So I have been tagged by TheEpicPlace, go check her out, to do the fear tag, which seems very simple in the concept, but pretty difficult when you actually are trying to think about it. Basically, the prompt is, what is this? Are we writing an English essay? What? Basically, the idea is you just tell the camera, and you guys, hi, what your biggest fear is. And I think there's like a lot of different types of fear and a lot of different levels of fear, but I'm not going to get into that because that's not exactly what this is about. But you know, like when you're a kid and people are like, what are you afraid of? And they're like, spiders or heights, ah! You know, everyone's afraid of things like that. Like those are rational things to be afraid of, and then people have irrational fears that they can't help, and that's fine too. But for me, something that really resonates with the word fear isn't really something so tangible, which is why I was always confused about like, if I were fighting a boggart or a bogart, whatever, what would it shapeshift into? Because what I am afraid of isn't some tangible like thing or creature or whatever, it's myself. Gonna get really real with y'all, let you inside my brain box a bit. I have a huge issue with actually focusing on the present moment. I've done meditation and things like that, and that always helps a little bit, but in the long run, I have a huge problem actually focusing on what's going on right now and in front of me in this time and place. Because my mind is usually everywhere else except for where reality is in that moment. It's either off in some fantasy world or thinking about what could possibly be, or it's thinking about my future or reliving events from my past. It just doesn't like to stay in one place like the rest of me. So much of me, my personality, and everything about me is just so indecisive, I swear. All over the place. That's me. So enough beating around the bush. To put it simply, my biggest fear, wow, it's actually scary to say out loud, whoa. I feel like I can't put it in a nice succinct little bubble wrapped package and send it off and be like, that's it, that's my fear, there it goes. If I were to try to condense it, it would be something like the fear of not amounting to my potential. Not exactly my potential, because like I believe potential isn't some finite quality or quantity either. It's something that can be endless, and like the more that you work and the more that you learn and try and create and explore, then the more potential opens up and the more opportunity opens up, though not equal for all people, I understand that, but within one's own self. I guess what I mean is, I'm afraid that with so many interests and so many things that seem to set my heart on fire and call me from every direction, that I'm just going to end up giving bursts of passion to all these different things, all these different little projects, all these different ideas that I want to come true, and I won't actually be able to fully devote myself to any one of them to realize what I actually could be. Like if I were to just change my major and become a film director or something like that, what could I do then? There's so much. And then if I were to stop doing that and I were to focus on teaching, then I would have a much more stable job, and that would help me a lot in the future. But how would that affect my creativity? Would that, I don't know. It's great to be a person who can just fall in love with everything, but it's also hard because I don't know how to direct all of that love. It's not like I don't have enough love to give. I can give passion and love and attention and focus and stuff on a bunch of different things, but if I'm doing it spread out, it's like, I think time is the main issue. Time is something that I'm very much afraid of. Maybe my biggest fear is time itself, in a way. I'll get back to that. Stay on the current tangent, then you can go to a different tangent. This is a third tangent about tangents. Frickety frag nuggets. What was I saying? Jazz hands. There's just so many different paths that if I were to devote my entire self and being into, I know that I could do so many different things with. But the instant that I do that, I shut off doors all around me in every other direction. How can I pick one corridor when I'm standing in a circular hall with infinite directions to go? And they're all equally appealing. But back to the fear of time thing, I think part of it's a fear of regret. Regret is my least favorite emotion to feel ever because you can't do anything about it. So that's the past that bothers me. The present that bothers me is, in fact, the overwhelming options, because right now I could do anything. I could jump up, cartwheel out that window and maybe survive. Maybe I'd break my legs, but maybe then I'd get a Make-A-Wish Foundation something and then get to meet one of my heroes who introduces me to something else, and then I could find work there, even then like be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, but be able to like do a bunch of amazing things because everyone knows that disabled people can still do amazing things. And this is a tangent again, but I could do that right now. You never know what's gonna happen. So that's why the present moment scares me and why I'm constantly wanting to be somewhere else, because I tend to think that the present moment has a lot less less potential than it does, and so I am afraid of all the potential that it actually does have. So instead of making a choice, I am overwhelmed by the options and decide to just stay in bed, you know? And then when it comes to the future, depending on what paths I choose and which windy roads I take, I could have so many crazily different possibilities in my future. And the thing is, I don't want to grow old, look back on my life, and think, wow, there were so many things that I loved with a fiery, burning passion and desire to work on and create and do with my life. And yet I never fully committed to one. And therefore, I never got to actually realize my full potential or ability, or who knows. I think everyone, to some extent, has times where they feel like they're important. At least for me, a lot of my life is a battle between feeling important and feeling completely unimportant, because I'm just this tiny speck in a tiny speck called the Earth, in a tiny speck called the solar system, the universe, galaxy, etc. But even just within Earth, it's like I'm just a tiny little poop dot. But then I also feel like I am important because I don't know, maybe it's from reading all the books as a child, but it's like wanting to be the hero of my own story, take my life into my own hands and make something of myself, you know? It's just adventures and excitement. Those things just call to me, but the thing is that adventures only come with opportunity, and opportunity can be fleeting, and I might not know when to grasp it. And this is going on a completely different tangent. How many times can Quinlan say tangent in one video? It's so ridiculous, because by not making any decisions, I am making the decision to shut all the doors, and yet I continuously do that instead of just opening one of the doors and letting the other ones close. It's like you can either have one or nothing, but I want all or multiple? I gotta try to sum it up and bring it all together, because I started with one idea of what my biggest fear was, and then it branched out into everything else. Just like my mind does, it is constantly gathering information, filtering it, exploding it into all the other different things of each potential path that each thing could go in any way all the time, and it's so hard to follow. I'm trying to get better at it, but anyway, so I guess to condense it, to take all this that I've been talking about and go, is that I'm afraid that I'm not going to do enough with the time that I have to be proud of and happy with. You know, people say life is short. It feels really long sometimes, and it feels really, really fast other times. And it's just like time is this bending thing that I can't control and I can't seem to comprehend very well. And you know, we're all just sort of along for the ride. And I think that's scary, because everyone has this sense of wanting some sort of control over their lives. Even in a sea of chaos, we just want one little rock to hang on to. And for me, that rock has always been passion. But when I have so much excitement and love and interest and intrigue and so many different things, it's kind of like, what do I pick? And what if I should have picked that thing? I mean, I don't think that there is a should have or should do in life. It is inevitable that whatever path my life goes down, or series of paths or maze or whatever, by going down that one linear path, I am avoiding infinite others. And who knows what I could make of myself if I only was able to know where to direct my energy. The thought of being at the end of my life and thinking I could have done so much more terrifies me. There's so much just in this one planet, just in Earth, that no one person can experience entirely in one lifetime or in several lifetimes. There's places I'll never end up getting to go, things I'll never get to see, feelings I'll never experience. And it's so scary to me that I won't be able to get the entire human experience while I'm alive and human and breathing. And because of that, I forget that I am alive and human and breathing, and I abandon the current moment in favor for a bright new one or a dark past one to linger on, because I'm too afraid of making a decision that will get rid of possibilities, because I'm too afraid of possibilities limiting my decisions. This is like a therapy session. And I'm going to do another crazy thing right now, which is tag 3 people who are insanely creative, who I have no doubt are going to make a video that I'm going to be like, oh man, I could have done that. PaintTheSpace, AnthieUhh, and JasannaDreams. But I mean, I guess this tag, the point of it is just to be sitting bare, nothing special, nothing fancy, just the person, a camera, and their fears. And if you want to do this and I didn't tag you, go ahead and do it and say I tagged you. I don't care, because, you know, I'm tagging everyone. I don't have enough little tags, you know? They ran out of tags when they were printing them this morning at the machinery, and what am I saying? Yeah, and if you don't feel comfortable doing this tag, you don't have to. It's a pretty vulnerable thing to be able to do even within your own mind, and then to say it out loud, and then to say it to a camera, and then to post that somewhere where people can see it. I don't want to call it bravery, because then it's like me being like, oh, look how brave I am, because that's not what this is. It's just a vulnerability that I think is something people need to work on. Vulnerability is actually a beautiful thing, because that's the only way that you can be open to emotion and feeling and happiness. If you close that off, sure, you might not get hurt as much, but you also won't have any ups. It won't be ups or downs, it'll be a roller coaster that just goes in one straight line. Woo. Anyway, that's enough ranting, rambling, and preaching for the day. I hope you guys are feeling great, and I would love for you to share in the comments what your fears are, because I think it's such an interesting discussion, and I would love to talk with all of you about it, because I reply to everyone. Take a deep breath with me so that we can all just wipe away all this tension and stuff. I don't know if you're feeling it, but I am. And if you're not, you know what? Take a breath anyway, because it'll help. A deep breath in. And out. And then just smile. And think to yourself, I'm breathing, I'm alive, I have a heart that is beating, that wants me to be myself and loves me for who I am, and is able to be loved by others and is able to love others. And I have a mind that is able to think and dream and create and imagine and explore and allow me to be whoever I want to be and seek any sort of knowledge that I want. And I have a body that allows me to move, or to be, or to exist in this realm, because who knows how long life is going to last? Who knows what time is going to do? But instead of being afraid of time, maybe it's better to just sit back and be happy that we have time. Anyways, I hope you all have a beautiful day full of magic and joy. Bye!
I'm flying high, but I've got a feeling I'm falling for nobody else but you. You caught my eye, and I've got a feeling I'm falling. Show me the ring and I'll jump right through.